Thanks for joining us. Welcome to Arirang Newsbreak on this Wednesday, May 25th. I'm Han Daeun in Seoul. President Park Geun-hye has set off on a state visit to Africa this morning. Her first stop is Ethiopia, where Seoul will unveil a new aid project and a new vision for the continent. Our Song Ji-sun, who's traveling with the president, gives us a preview of the trip.
President Park's departure Wednesday coincides with Africa Day, an annual commemoration that celebrates the unity of the continent. Covering the three biggest economies in East Africa, President Park seeks to strengthen economic and development partnership with the continent, considered the last blue ocean in the world with growth of 5% in the 21st century. Seoul will assist Africa with customized development programs while sharing its experience for mutual growth. President Park will further elaborate on her new vision for Africa on Friday in a speech at the Africa Union headquarters in Addis Ababa, making her the first Korean leader to address the continent.
In addition to our diplomacy and official development assistance, Seoul will lay out its vision for Africa in peace and security, mutual growth through economic cooperation, new development models, as well as cultural exchanges.
Seoul is set to unveil its Korea Aid project in Ethiopia, an official development assistance program on wheels offering healthcare and cultural contents. Spreading Hallyu, or the Korean wave, across the African continent, the Korea Aid vehicles will show videos ranging from taekwondo to K-pop and introduce the 2018 Winter Olympic Games in Pyeongchang. Before President Park leaves for Uganda and Kenya, a business forum will also be held to help our delegation discover the great potential of Ethiopia. Song Ji-sun, Arirang News.
With the new 20th National Assembly starting its term next week, the outgoing National Assembly Speaker wrapped up his two-year term with a farewell press conference. Chung Yu-hwa, a five-year term lawmaker and former neurosurgeon, said today two of the 19th National Assembly's biggest achievements were the passage of reforms to the public servant pension system and a strict anti-corruption law. He expressed regret about the recent controversy surrounding a proposed revision to the National Assembly Act that would allow for more frequent parliamentary hearings. Chung defended the bill, saying that having more hearings would lead to a quicker resolution of current issues. The ruling Saenuri Party opposes the idea on the grounds that frequent hearings could hamper the government's ability to conduct state affairs. It appears STX Shipping will be put under court receivership after all, despite the enormous amount of money pumped into the firm to improve its ailing financial status. Korea Development Bank, the shipping firm's main creditor, said after a meeting held this morning, the firm's creditors agreed that there's no point in directing additional financial support to save STX, as the firm is unlikely to be able to stave off bankruptcy now. KDB says it will finalize talks with the firm's creditors and shift the shipping giant's management to court receivership by end of the month. And more on the country's troubled shipping industry. The sheer weight of debt held by Korea's ailing shipbuilders has local banks on edge. Massively exposed to loans that might turn sour at any moment, the industry could be facing some serious problems of its own as the government's restructuring program goes full steam ahead. Park Jong-hong reports.
The perfect storm seems to be brewing for Korea's banking industry as the nation's shipbuilding sector faces sweeping restructuring. This is because banks would have to ramp up their debt service coverage ratio when loans held by the shipbuilders, which are mostly classified as normal, turn out to be bad debt. Doing that would weigh heavily on their financial operations. Currently, the aggregate amount of loans held by the so-called Big Three shipbuilders, Daewoo Shipbuilding and Marine Engineering, Hyundai Heavy Industries, and Samsung Heavy Industries, come to about 50 trillion won, or roughly 42.1 billion US dollars. This is 25 times more than the loans of shipping companies combined. Experts fear the shockwaves from the loans turning bad could pulse through the entire banking industry, leading to devastating losses for Korea's commercial banks. There have been growing concerns about whether the country's state-run banks can handle the fallout from the government-led restructuring program. Korean shipbuilders, once growth engines of the economy, have been struggling to cut costs and secure liquidity to stay afloat in an industry-wide slump. Park Jung-hong, Arirang News.
Samsung Electronics says it's considering countersuing Huawei Technologies, which filed suit against the Korean tech giant for infringement of its smartphone patents. This is the Chinese firm's first case against the world's biggest mobile maker. The lawsuits filed in the U.S. and China seek compensation for what it said was, quote, unlicensed use of fourth-generation cellular communications technology, operating systems, and user interface software in Samsung phones. In a statement, the Chinese phone maker said it hopes Samsung will get the necessary license from Huawei and work with the company. And that does it for now. Stay with Arirang for more of the day's developing stories throughout the day. Thank you for watching.